Have you joined the
What do you think
fastest
you're
growing
doing,
fantasy
Kevin?
motorsports
was
app
just gonna
yet?
drive
On
hot.
Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP.
067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
You're blind. You're trying to escape from here, aren't you? I want to see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off. Good luck not getting killed.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the province of Quebec, Canada, where tonight the ESRA INDYCAR series will take to the streets for, I forget what we were calling this, but this was one of my favorite race names we had. The Grande Assiette de Poutine. The Big Plate of Poutine is what the ESRA INDYCAR Series drivers are running for here this evening. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. Practice just wrapping up. Qualifications going to get underway here in just a moment. Looking forward to an absolutely fantastic race here tonight. Drivers have been... We heard one driver describe things in the pre-race as potentially a bloodbath here tonight, which... I don't know that I would necessarily go that far, but the potential for carnage always exists here in Montreal, and that's something we'll have to keep an eye on for sure. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. Production and camera design by Connor Baldwin this evening. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your efforts this evening, and we thank you all for tuning in as well. Have the poll up here on the YouTube side of things. Who's your race winner tonight? Matt Wagner, Mario Miranda, James Watson, Julian Altina. So far, only a couple of votes in, but we'll put the results up here in just a little bit once that's finished up. Qualifications out on the racetrack. Pick up a French-speaking native, although currently living in France, Sebastian Kinder, out on the racetrack, making his way through turn number 10. That hairpin, one of the most iconic hairpin-style corners in all of motorsports. He goes screaming down the backside of the race course into turns 11 and 12. And that is the Wall of Champions just on the outside of that track. The best in the world have been their race cars at that corner, trying to push just a little bit too hard. Already through turn 1, making his way through turn number 2, the big carousel-like corner. He's going to hook you back off for the short run down into turn number 3. This 4-5 complex, another chicane. Montreal, one of those road courses that is as oval-like as you could possibly get, considering its right-hand turns. But it's basically a bunch of chicanes demarking the end of massively long straightaways. This racetrack is insanely fast. Here you'll run under the Dodge Dart sign and towards that turn number 10. Get everybody up to date here on the point standings as we follow Sebastian Kinder around. He's gone 2 quick sectors. James Watson has the other one here, but you can't make a mistake. Matt Wagner going to be your points leader, 353 points. Mario Miranda holds on to second after last week at 277. 242 for James Watson in third. Sebastian Kinder, Ty Richter round out your top 5. 6 through 10, Alec Coates, Zach Rinker, Benjamin Combs, Jay Shallington, and J.W. Miller. On the team side of things, Team Watson Racing is your overall points leader, sitting on 202 markers. 49 points back, Team Ball Racing in second. Third belongs to Lights Out Esports, Team Watson San Jose, Mediocre Motorsports, the top 5. Torque Wrench Motorsports, Dark Horse Indy, the Butchers, and Dark Horse Racing complete the 9 cars. Or 9 teams, I should say, in the championship standings. Sebastian Kinder, quickest on the racetrack in qualifications thus far, 1 minute 21.765 seconds. James Watson goes quicker in Sector 2. We'll see what the lap time is going to look like for Watson here. Mario Miranda setting a quick Sector 1 as he's working his way around the race course as well. Just about everybody on the racetrack right now. Only Gary Corley, Brian Valls, and Zach Evans are not out attempting qualification runs. Last car we're going to see complete their laps will be Matt Wagner, unless one of those other 3 cars gets out on the racetrack. But here's Sebastian Kinder to complete his run, lap number 2. Going to commit at a 121.8, so within 0.3 of a second of his last lap time. Pick up the 42 with Jeff Destino. Mario Miranda coming around. He will be completing his first lap. Oh, in trouble for Miranda. He's going to have to head back to the pit area. We may see Mario Miranda start from the back of the field here because, at least by our timing and scoring, he got a lap in the books, which means this would theoretically be his second lap. We'll keep an eye on that story as it develops. New quick time to the top of the board. James Watson, 1 minute 21.746 seconds. 21.74, the quick time for James Watson. Picking up Matt Wagner as he starts his flying lap. He was very quick in Sector 3 on the outlap. We'll see what he's going to be able to do over the course of the full circuit. Goes personal best 22:78 in Sector 1. William Reinhard with a very quick middle sector, and he was the winner at Long Beach a little bit earlier this season. Reinhard's going to move up at the end of lap number 2, 1 minute 22.14, currently provisionally in the 5th position. See what Matt Wagner's going to do as he works his way down here through Sector 3. Oh, and he's going to put it into the wall of champions. And he will have to toe in. And basically at this point, the second lap is just completely shot because you're basically starting from scratch. So we'll keep our eye here on Mario Miranda, see what he's going to be doing as well. Miranda does not have a lap in the books. New quick time, top of the board, Zach Rinker, 1 minute 21.430 seconds, 0.3 quicker than James Watson's lap. Watson only had 0.02 of a second over Sebastian Kinder. Man, this is going to be a pretty outstanding race here. If we're going to see Matt Wagner and Mario Miranda coming from the back of the field, at least by what I'm seeing in timing and scoring, it looks like Miranda has used up his available laps. No, he did not. New quick time, top of the board. 1:21.26 seconds. Flying lap out of Mario Miranda. This is going to be the same deal here for Matt Wagner as well. Wagner is now on his flying lap. Basically, that's sort of the reason for the confusion here. Is when they have the incident right at the end of the lap, we see them toe back in. They haven't actually started the second lap yet. That was an out lap that we saw from Mario Miranda. This is the same thing. Wagner now on his one and only flying lap. So long as the qualifying session is 10 minutes in length, he should be able to get the lap in here. But you can't have a 1x at any point in the lap. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Hopefully you're enjoying the show here this evening. I want to remind everybody, you can support the National Racing Network on YouTube. We now have subscriptions available, or memberships, I guess you would say. You can join Team NRN for as little as $2.99 a month. Also, you can send super chats, and pretty much a guarantee that I will read your comment on the air. Wagner down to the stripe. See what his lap's going to look like here. Second quick, 1:21.33. How about less than 1/10 of a second separating Mario Miranda from Matt Wagner? We thought we were going to get a shootout with them coming from the back, but now we're going to see a shootout with Miranda and Wagner starting from the front of the field. Looks like Zach Evans, Gary Corley, Brian Valls will not take time here. Qualifications are over. Let's get you the starting lineup for tonight's race. Mario Miranda will be your pole sitter with a quick lap time of 1:21.255 seconds. Matt Wagner on the outside of row number 1. Zach Raker and William Reinhardt on row 2. James Watson, Sebastian Kinder on row 3. Row 4, Chris Wilhite, J.W. Miller. Row 5, Alexander Ball and Alec Coates. Row 6, Benjamin Combs and Aiden Hill. Row number 7 will have Jeff Destino and Jay Shallington. Row number 8, Ty Richter and Jim Brooks. Row 9, Cullen Johnston and Julian Altina. Row 10, Zach Evans and Scott Wise. Gary Corley, Brian Voles will make up the 11th and final row here this evening. Just waiting on Matt Wagner to jump into the grid here. We'll see what that may be about, but hopefully everything should sound pretty good here on the mics, at least on our side. We see some of the comments coming in here. Wagner doesn't have much time to get into the grid if he's making any setup changes here. Also waiting on Jay Shallington. Wagner's now on the grid. Now just waiting to see Jay Shallington drop in. He may actually be electing to start from the pit lane here. It may not be the worst idea to take the start from pit lane, but looking forward to a fantastic night of racing here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Coming up right after this, we have the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. As we see the grid start to file off here. Miranda and Wagner will make up the starting grid. And here's one of the tricky things. Coming through that last corner, it really is a one-lane corner. So you see they start to sort of separate out just a little bit. Pace car is in. Field's going to start to get doubled up back down the front straightaway. Green flags in the air. We're underway. Big separation there from about 12th place on back. Miranda going to lead the field down to turn number 1. Side-by-side battle just back behind him. Looks like everybody filing through that corner okay. Jay Shallington did elect to take the pit lane start. Matt Wagner and William Reinhardt both getting around Mario Miranda. Miranda going to fall back to the 3rd position. Right on the initial start of the race. One of the things that we were fully expecting is 14 lap stints tonight. No more, no less. You go 14 laps, you can make this a 2-stop race. Drivers are telling us anywhere from 3/4 to a quarter lap of fuel is going to be what's in reserve. So making 14 laps should not be an issue. Oh, Miranda wide at the hairpin. That's going to let Sebastian Kinder get to his inside. Kinder pretty wisely backs trouble on the racetrack. Big wreck back in the pack here. Looks like Jim Brooks, Chris Wilhite, J.W. Miller, Alexander Ball may all be involved in this one. See what happened here. Oh, J.W. Miller getting into the back, and they're going to wad up a bunch of race cars right at the exit of the hairpin. Trouble on the racetrack for Jim Brooks here as he's trying to make his way back to the pit area. Gets it down to the hairpin, and there's no way you're making that right-hand turn. Trouble on the racetrack for Mario Miranda. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay on this one. Excitement all over the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Miranda going to spin. Exit gently into the wall. Jeff Destino having an issue on the racetrack. Take a look at what happened here to the 42 machine. Locks up the tires. Let's go back to live looks here. Here is Matt Wagner, William Reinhardt at the front of the field. Top two getting away from third place running Sebastian Kinder. They got 3.3 seconds. Already working lap number 3. This will happen in a pretty quick way here. As we were mentioning here, next race coming up tonight, the Watkins Glen International Raceway for the PM18s. They'll be running the boot. That was a fantastic race. Our first season of broadcast. Looking forward to another good one tonight. A very familiar racetrack for all of those drivers. This is a venue that a lot of these IndyCar guys are not familiar with for the grid rival ESRA INDYCAR series. See if we can't slide back in the field just a little bit here. Maybe pick up Cullen Johnston running in the 11th position. Pretty decent battle back here. Scott Wise just ahead of him on the racetrack. Zach Evans, Brian Valls, Jay Shallington. All four of these cars in a line. Trouble on the racetrack for Alexander Ball. He's had a couple of incidents here this evening. Not completed a lap yet, actually, just coming around to complete a lap. Trouble for Scott Wise. Overshoots the corner. Down there at turn number 10, opens the door. Cullen Johnston going to walk right through it, bringing Zach Evans, Brian Valls, Jay Shallington with him. Ty Richter, Mario Miranda fighting for position. This is the battle for 8th. Making its way down towards turn number 1. Man, that looked like pretty big contact there. See if we can get a hot shoe race for instant replay on that one. Richter covers the inside lane. He just locks it up on entry. Man, what a piece of driving by Mario Miranda. Gonna have to give some time back. But he's already used up the quick repair that's on offer. Trouble once again for Mario Miranda. See what happened here. This is just after the incident. Just kind of loops it around, little soft spin. No contact. And he's going to get himself back rolling here, but Mario Miranda all the way back in the 19th position and could be going in danger of going a lap down here as we pick up Zach Rinker and James Watson. This is the battle for the 4th position. Watson just about a half second behind here. Both of these cars about 3 1/3 seconds behind third place running Sebastian Kinder. Taking a look here early on, not a ton of use of the push to pass button that is on offer to these drivers. Matt Wagner, William Reinhard have both used the button once. Sebastian Kinder, Zach Rinker have used it twice. Trouble on the racetrack again for Mario Miranda, and that may be the end of the night here. This is on the run down towards pit entry. Locks it up into the wall of champions. Big hit into that wall. Miranda going to have to take the tow. Jim Brooks also having an issue out on the racetrack. Man, he just went straight on. That almost looks like a component failure or something there. He just overshot it by a wide margin. Got it locked up, able to back out onto the race course, and Jim Brooks can resume the festivities here. Trouble on the racetrack for Benjamin Combs and Scott Wise. Man, we are just living under the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Combs down into turn number 10, going to lock it up on entry. Scott Wise has to lock it up. I tell you what, the lockups here is really going to be where the issue is for these drivers, because when you start flat spotting tires and causing some carnage here, it can be difficult to make the tires last a full 14-lap stint. Plus, the drivers have to use each compound. With the exception of Julian Altina, everybody inside the top 15 is on the red alternate tires. Trouble for Aiden Hill, also Cullen Johnston having an issue as well. Johnston was up about the 12th position when he had his incident. He loops it around, little soft spin, everybody. Now the biggest headache is you got to wait for the whole field to come past. Check the relative, make sure you're clear, and once you're clear, then you're able to get yourself spun back around. William Reinhardt just set a fastest sector 2, trying to chase down Matt Wagner at the front of the field. Gap holding's fairly steady right now, right about, call it 3/4 of a second between Wagner and Reinhardt. Cullen Johnston just ahead of him on the racetrack. Cullen running in the 17th position, still on the lead lap, but very close to going a lap down to your race leaders. Cullen going to get up and out of the way down the front straightaway. See trouble for J.W. Miller. Looks like he went slow and off track. However, that may have just been a lockup into the corner. A little more than a lockup. Spins it around, gets the car, loops back the right way, and he'll continue on. So as we get back to the live look here, this battle on the racetrack right now will involve James Watson. Still getting tight in on Zach Rinker. He's holding the gap right about 0.4 of a second. One of the things we're noticing out of the timing and scoring data here is that Zach Rinker, very, very aggressive into the braking zone. He's gaining a ton of time on corner entry. Watson a little bit smoother through the corners. That's kind of what's keeping the pace here, is Watson not giving up any time. Trouble on the racetrack for Zach Evans. A little bit too much throttle too early and loops the back end around. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on that race car, but we'll see if he's going to have to come into the pits. As we mentioned, we're looking at a 14-lap stint here for the race leaders. We shouldn't expect any less, probably not any more. That's kind of right where it seems like the fuel window is falling in line. Looking up at the front of the field here, Matt Wagner, big time under pressure now from William Reinhardt. Remember, Reinhardt led just about every lap of the race in Long Beach earlier this season. Jumped out to a massive lead, skunked everybody on the strategy by just going absolutely flat out. He's close, he's within range now. We'll see where he's going to elect to attempt the pass. Turn 1 might not be the smartest spot to attempt that pass. The problem is the rest of the course is it's chicanes until you get down to turn 10. So you just have to follow in line tightly, not lose the adversary in front of you. Patience, the name of the game here for these drivers this evening. Now here's going to be the big shot for Reinhardt. We'll see how close he's going to get. Neither driver on the button down into turn number 10. Reinhardt just not close enough to attempt the pass here. He gains a lot of times. Just ahead of him, Jim Brooks having an issue. Stays to the inside of the racetrack. Leaders come by cleanly. Seeing some trouble on the racetrack for Zach Evans. We'll stay. Oh, we'll get to the replay here. Show you what happened to Zach. Again, turn 10 catching you out in a very big way. Evans just gets it a little bit wide. Has to really get on the binders. Turn 10 where Robert Kubica had his absolutely massive wreck. Early 2000s, driving for the BMW Sauber team. Came back to win that race 1 year later. Take a look here at the comments. Darlene Hanchett checking in, saying, good luck, Aiden Hill. Loving the car. Thank you very much. DeWeather Center checking in, saying, good evening. Hello, Peter, or whomever it is on the DeWeather Center team. Keep your eye out. You're going to be seeing a lot of content from the National Racing Network and the DeWeather Center, folks. Seeing a lot of trouble here out on the racetrack. It's an off track, a back on track, and the car's slowing down in a big way. And it's a repetitive pattern here of drivers just losing the handle on the race car. You got to get so close to that outside wall. Called the corner of champions for a reason here. Currently working lap number 12. Down to 12 and now 11 cars remaining on the lead lap, and Benjamin Combs not that far from going a lap down either here. About a quarter of a lap or so. Yes, it does look French-Canadian hot there this evening. Yes, it does. Wagner and Reinhardt going to stay right in line here. James Watson and Zach Rinker are doing the exact same dance as well. Back there for the 4th position. Sebastian Kinder is living in no man's land, right between the two battles that we have on the racetrack. Tell you what here, before we get into the first round of pit stops, producer Connor, how about we give the fans a chance at home here to crank it up? Big move into the braking zone. What a gutsy move by James Watson. Absolutely shifted Zach Rinker out. Rinker, let's get a replay. Yeah, let's see a replay here. See this kind of from Zach Rinker's perspective. Watson pulls out down into the final chicane. Oh, and Rinker just got it into the outside retaining wall. He's going to come down pit road, have to make his stop early. The myth that we were hearing was that you were going to have to go 14 laps. With that being said, if you're able to squeeze an extra lap of fuel out of the tank, Zach Raker may have executed an absolutely perfect undercut by screwing up the pit entry just a little bit. James Watson, not much of a gap here on Julian Altina. Altina going to look down to the inside, into the hairpin. Casino Corner is the name on that one. And Altina moves ahead up to the 4th position. How about Julian Altina up 14 spots from the drop of the green flag? Absolutely massive gain there for Altina. Sebastian Kinder up 3, Aiden Hills up 6. Gary Corley up 7. He is a lap down, but he's a pretty good gainer there. Biggest losers on the night, J.W. Miller down 10, and Mario Miranda out of this race after only 3 laps. He will finish tonight in the 22nd position. There's Jim Brooks getting himself out of the way. Looks like Ty Richter had an issue on the racetrack. And Alexander Ball also getting off track here. Aiden Hill came down the pit lane. He's still on his way in. It is lap number 14, so we'll take a look here up at the front of the field and see if Matt Wagner and William Reinhardt are going to come in this time. The gap's now 1.5 seconds between Wagner and Reinhardt. There it is. There's your race leader making his way into the pits, followed closely behind by William Reinhardt. We'll follow these two, see what's going on with their pit stops. Sebastian Kinder also making his way in. I mean, this is basically to plan what we expected to see. Trouble on the racetrack for Jay Shallington. We'll stay right here with the pit stops. Wagner's car up in the air, as is Reinhardt's. It'll be 4 Firestone tires. Full tank of Speedway fuel. They're both down and away. Little bit tighter gap. Oh, man, but Reinhardt almost lost it on pit exit. Oh, and Brooks gets into the side of Matt Wagner. Matt Wagner gets wrecked by the lap car of Jim Brooks. Taking a look at it again on the replay. Oh, Matt Wagner has to be absolutely furious right now. He's now 3 seconds back of William Reinhardt. The gap is closing in a hurry, though. Well, as we say that, the gap opens back up to 3.25 seconds. Big, smooth move of the race. Easily to Jim Brooks. The contact with your race leaders. Give you one more look at this. Here's the onboard from Jim Brooks's view. You really only see Matt Wagner very, very late in that confrontation. Doesn't change the fact now that Matt Wagner's got a 3.5 second deficit on the exchange of pit stops. Matt Wagner may have had an issue again on the racetrack. Oh, just a little bit too much throttle on the final corner. He backs it into the inside wall, loops it across the racetrack. Now, oh yeah, now he took big time damage on the rear of that race car, and he has to take the toe in. What a tough break for Matt Wagner. See if we can get one more replay of the second incident there for Matt Wagner. This time from outside the race car. There it is. He just loops it. Big time contact. That's absolutely going to bang up that race car. And as soon as he starts to get in the throttle, pitches itself back to the inside. What a tough break for Matt Wagner. He went from dominating this race to now being pit side in the 10th position. So let's run you back through the field here. William Reinhardt is now your race leader. He took that over after the incident that Matt Wagner had with Jim Brooks coming out of the pit area. Sebastian Kinder now runs in the 2nd position. Julian Altina holding on to 3rd in the number 71 machine. And he has absolutely left James Watson. Watson now 5.7 seconds back in the number 39, running in the 4th position. The 60 is Zach Rinker, runs in 5th. Rinker had a pretty darn good battle there with James Watson for a good early part of this race. And now we are really big time in survival mode here, as we're seeing drivers in the pit area, drivers having crashes and off tracks. Taking a look here, Benjamin Combs is pit side. And this stop going to be a long one because he's now over 13 seconds of pit stop time. So there is a damage repair going on there. Either a penalty or a damage repair for Benjamin Combs. He's going to fall back to the 11th position. Aiden Hill having some issues as well. The whole right front corner of that machine torn up pretty big. He actually has no front wing on the front of the 04. Get you a Hot Shoe Raceware instant replay. See what happened. This on the run down to the final chicane. A little too much curb. Bangs the whole nose off of that car. The front wing's still laying there at corner exit. So Aiden Hill trying to nurse that car back around. At this point, his biggest concern is the fact that he may have a meatball flag. So he's going to try to complete as many laps as possible before the DQ. If you've used the quick repair, and you bang the car up a second time, the crew may just say, it's too much damage, we're done. So Matt Wagner's here, back in the 8th position. Running a little bit behind Alec Coates. But Wagner did not go a lap down in the exchange of incidents there on the front straightaway. Not much in tow time, quite frankly, because he was right across from the pit area. William Reinhardt setting the best lap of the race here this evening at a 1 minute 21.886. His last lap time was the fastest overall at a 1 minute 22.823. So a full 1 second off the fast laps of the race here. You may see somebody take a shot at fast lap of the race with a late pit stop if you're out of the running, but down to 9 cars remaining on the lead lap. Getting close in on the halfway point here, but going to be Jay Shallington just ahead of Reinhardt here on the racetrack. And we were mentioning this a little bit earlier in the broadcast, but Reinhardt led, I believe, I want to say 68 laps or something like that. He led all but 2 of the laps at Long Beach earlier this season. And ultimately a self-inflicted incident put him out of the win there. So this race is not over by any stretch, especially with another round of pit stops to come yet. And race leaders having to fight lap traffic on a circuit that, quite frankly, is very difficult to pass on. So we see, I believe it's Cullen Johnston going around. What's interesting here is for all of the cars that have had incidents so far this evening, The only car out of the race right now is Mario Miranda. Everybody else is still running here. Seeing Mario checking in the comments, saying, not quite sure what happened out there. The car was not the same as what we had in practice. That very well could be down to weather conditions, at least a little bit here. Partly cloudy skies, 67 degrees is the ambient temperature. However, 103-degree track surface temperature. This place is blistering hot. Trouble on the racetrack for Zach Rinker. Let's see what happened here. Rinker running in 5th position at the time. Trying to come around one of the lapped cars. Oh, may have gotten some help there. Overshoots turn number 10. That's an odd spot for Zach Rinker to have an issue. We're seeing that he may have crashed again here. Once again, coming back down into turn number 10. This is the next lap by. Maybe not. But he definitely... Oh, there we go. There's Zach Rinker. On the replay, yeah, you can see the whole left front side of that car is absolutely mangled. And he has to take the tow back into the pits. It's a tough break for Zach Rinker. Jeff Destino also having to jump to the pit area. Scott Wise taking the tow in. We've got a lot of race cars that are towing into the pit area now, and that may be the end of the day for some of these drivers. Is not too far away from seeing the cross flags to race leader William Reinhardt. Taking a look here now, only 7 cars remain on the lead lap. Would have been great if the drivers had some insight on the weather conditions. They do. The drivers have access to all that information. They don't have to rely on us to tell them what to think. They can be wrong all by themselves. Let's run you down through the top 7 cars here on the lead lap. Going to be William Reinhardt, Sebastian Kinder, Julian Altina, James Watson, Chris Wilhite, Matt Wagner, and Alec Coates. 8th is Jay Shallington, 1 lap down. Ty Richter, Benjamin Combs complete the top 10. Looks like it may be, well, maybe not be the end of the night for Jeff Destino and Scott Wise. They're both getting out onto the racetrack. Handful of laps down, but seeing Sebastian Kinder may have had a slight off track. We'll pick him up here and see how that car looks. Looks pretty clean on the damage front here. Like we said, he has been absolutely all to himself all night. The top 2 broke away pretty cleanly. Initially, it was Zach Rinker and James Watson battling for position. Also, Julian Altina getting in that fight, but none of them getting any closer to Sebastian Kinder. Let's take a little ride here around. We'll do a lap on board with Sebastian Kinder. making his way down into the final chicane. It's really interesting to watch Sebastian. He can be an animated character, but he is very, very smooth behind the wheel. No crazy braking on entry. Gets it back off the corners just a little bit. Down easy through the gears. Gentle on the throttle back out of the hairpin. It's a fantastic way to stay clean on a night that everybody else has been having issues. Julian Altina most certainly catching Sebastian Kinder here for the second position. It was a 3-second gap just a handful of laps ago. Now, inside of 2 seconds. Once again, Julian Altina definitely quicker here through Sector 1. Altina 0.2 of a second quick. The big one here is that Altina is definitely within striking range even for the pit stops. Any kind of a damage repair for Sebastian Kinder, that's all she wrote for the second position. And once you're within about a half second or so, that is plenty of margin for the pit crews to make up. See a little bit of a connection issue there for Sebastian Kinder. A couple of laps or so away from the final pit stops. Well within 1 second. Man, Julian Altina really dumps it deep into turn number 10. I thought he might have lost a little bit there, but the gap's sitting pretty steady here, right about 1 second. And Sebastian Kinder can see that on the relative. Man, Altina much smoother there through the final chicane. I say that, and he goes 0.8 of a second slower than Sebastian Kinder through that part of the racetrack. So, tells you what the commentary guys know up here. Looks like Mario Miranda, Scott Wise are both out of the race. Everybody else is still on the racetrack. Gary Corley's had more incidents than I've had girlfriends in my lifetime here this evening, but he's still plugging away back there in the 19th position. Seeing trouble on the racetrack as well for Zach Evans. This, maybe bloodbath was the right word to use. Man, Julian Martina right on the back bumper. And he's going to be on the push to pass button here, trying to get in. Use that extra 50 horsepower available. Big dive to the inside. Takes better of it. Tucks back in line. Altina going to get right back on the button down the front straightaway. 2 activations in a very short time span here. Kinder thought about blocking the line off. They'll go side by side into one. What a drive by Kinder, holding it down to the inside through turn 2. Oh man, they're almost banging wheels. Altina gets off the racetrack. Fantastic bit of driving by Julian Altina to keep that car on the straight and narrow. How very un-French-like of Sebastian Kinder getting aggressive on the defense. Keeping our eye on things here. This is the only close battle on the racetrack. Oh, Kinder overcooks turn 10 just a little bit. Race leader William Reinhardt is in the pit area. Here at lap number 28, this is going to be the final stop of the race. Only real question is going to be what the tire selection will be. Kinder and Altina both going to make their way into the pits as well. Reinhardt finally hitting his pit box. He's down and away 8.72 seconds, and he's going back on the alternates. Sebastian Kinder in his box, as is Julian Altina. In fact, Altina already down and away 8.35 seconds, 8.52 on the stop for Sebastian Kinder. They're going to drag race their way out of the pits. Sebastian Kinder going to hold on to the spot. The stop was 0.2 slower, but Kinder had just enough to stay ahead of Julian Altina. Both of those cars going back on the red Firestone tires. There you see the graphic across the bottom of the screen here for your pit stops. Gives you your total time on pit lane, plus when the driver is in their box. Here's Altina looking to the inside of Kinder once again. He's going to have the preferred position that time, and he easily completes the pass. I don't know that there was anything that Sebastian Kinder could have done to defend the pass that time. Out down into turn number 10. Man, Altina getting it way up on the curbs, getting the left sides off the ground. And the gap already out to 3/4 of a second here. Altina's going to get a little bit of drafting help from one of the Team Watson racing cars. May not amount to much, may not be that critical, but it's going to help you in terms of speed at least a little bit here. Sebastian Kinder has used the button in that last sector. Let's take a look here. Seeing trouble on the racetrack for Alexander Ball and Gary Corley. See if we can see what happened here. Oh, both of them just running way wide off the racetrack. They're going to have to slow down, but that is a change for position, I believe. Picking up here with race leader William Reinhardt. Trouble on the racetrack for Zach Rinker and Zach Evans. We'll get you Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay right there. Rinker had a good run right about the top 5 most of the night here. Incident put him a little deep in the field. He hits the runoff area. Does the Austin Powers 47 attempt K-turn, and he gets back out onto the racetrack. Right at the same time, Zach Evans also had an issue. This was just behind race leader William Reinhardt. Just overcooked the entry to turn number 10, comes back onto the racetrack. So everybody has completed their final pit stops of the evening. William Reinhardt, your race leader. Julian Altina, Sebastian Kinder, the top three. James Watson runs fourth. Chris Wilhite fifth. Matt Wagner, Alec Coates, the 7 cars that remain on the lead lap. Jay Shallington, Alexander Ball, Benjamin Combs back through the 10th position. J.W. Miller, Zach Rinker, Ty Richter, Zach Evans, and Aiden Hill are your top 15 here this evening. A little bit of a lockup there out of Altina. With the exception of Ty Richter, everybody on the racetrack right now is on the red alternate Firestone tires. Red, black, red seems to be the choice of everybody here this evening. Theoretically, the red should not last as long, but we saw they were running some pretty quick lap times there in the first stint. Altina really trying to push, catch up to race leader William Reinhardt, but the gap sitting at 14 3/4 seconds and growing. Seeing an issue here for Ty Richter on the racetrack. See if we can get you a Hot Shoe Raceware instant replay of that one. Overshoots the chicane, bangs into the Armco barrier. That takes the front end off the car, and here comes Zach Rinker through. He will pick up position number 13 from Ty Richter. Trouble on the racetrack also for Cullen Johnston. We'll get you a replay on that one. Just overcooks the entry to one of the chicanes, and Cullen able to get back onto the racetrack cleanly. New quick lap of the race belongs to Matt Wagner. Last time by 1 minute 21.53 seconds. And he is absolutely catching Chris Wilhite here for the 5th position. The gap, it was over 1 second. Now it's down to about 3/4 of a second. Wilhite going to be on the button trying to get away here. We are down to 10 laps remaining here in Montreal. And don't go anywhere because we got another big race coming up here. Short flight down from Montreal to Watkins Glen International for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. A baby checking in saying, let's go Reinhardt, redeem yourself from the last race you led. We'll see if William Reinhardt is going to be able to hold on to the race win here this evening. Here's Matt Wagner catching in on Chris Wilhite. That battle going to be very, very tight now. Trouble on the racetrack for Julian Altina. Get you a hot shoe race for instant replay. See what happened to our second place running driver. Just loose all by himself. Little scrape on the outside wall. I don't think that's going to do a ton of damage, but Sebastian Kinder does come past to claim the second position. Man, he's lucky he didn't get absolutely drilled there by one of the lap cars. Chris Wilhite still ahead of Matt Wagner. This is the battle for a top 5 finishing position. Tell you what, for Matt Wagner, this is absolutely huge in terms of his championship hopes here. He had a pretty substantial lead. Could have finished way down the running order and kind of opened the door up late in the season here. We'll stick with this battle. It's the best one on the racetrack right now. Sebastian Kinder only about 15 seconds back or so, but the bigger number now is he's got an 8-second advantage over Julian Altina as Chris Wilhite and Matt Wagner continue to fight for this spot inside the top 5. James Watson's 19 seconds up the road, so there's no real incentive here for Matt Wagner to make any really massive moves. Trouble on the racetrack for Julian Altina. See what happened here down the front straightaway. Loops it around in turn number 1. Take a look and see where if we see James Watson coming. We do not just yet. Altina really pushing that race car to its absolute limit. I want to remind everybody, give the video a like and a share if you like what you're watching here. And don't go anywhere. Indy Pro 2000 racing coming up next. Trouble for Wagner. He loops it. Well, didn't quite loop it, but got it sideways. A little bit too much throttle on corner exit. That will put an end to that battle. Let's pick up James Watson here. He's on the button, but he's 16 seconds back of Julian Altina for third, and he's got about 17 seconds to Chris Wilhite back behind him. I wonder if Watson's not trying to set a quick lap here. At least make a run at the point for fastest lap of the race. Lap times are way off of what we saw earlier in the race here. William Reinhardt's best lap of the race, 1 minute 21.89. His last lap, 124.28. So a full 3 seconds off the pace. Sebastian Kinder with a quick lap last time, 1:23.649. He was the fastest of everybody on the racetrack. Going to be down 5 laps to go here for race leader William Reinhardt. He has a 12-second lead over Sebastian Kinder. Julian Altina with a couple of issues late in the race here. Now runs in the 3rd position, 20 seconds back of Kinder's number 97. James Watson in the 3rd position, about 15 seconds back of where Altina is running. Trouble on the racetrack for Jim Brooks once again. Also, Cullen Johnston having an issue. Both drivers have had some pretty big issues here over the course of the evening. Get to the replay here on Cullen Johnston. I just overcooked it on quarter entry. William Reinhardt, Sebastian Kinder, Julian Altina, your podium right now. 6 cars remain on the lead lap. James Watson, Chris Wilhite, and Matt Wagner. The final 3 cars on the lead lap. There is nobody that is close to each other. We'll pull the intervals up here from car to car on the racetrack. And, yeah, there is nobody fighting for position anywhere here on the racetrack. Actually, closest battle is going to be Zach Evans, who is 1.5 seconds back of Ty Richter. But that is a battle for the 13th position, and those cars multiple laps down. Still following along here with race leader William Reinhardt. The gap still holding right about 10 seconds over Sebastian Kinder. Hopefully the audio issues are sorted out here. Let us know. Just 2 laps remaining here in the Grande Assiette de Poutine, the big plate of poutine. If y'all haven't been up to Quebec or you don't know any hockey players, my goodness, get yourself some poutine. French fries, brown gravy, cheese curds. Oh my goodness. One of the best bar foods on the planet. Taking a look here, William Reinhardt has 8 activations remaining of the push to pass button. He hasn't needed it whatsoever, as he just set a fastest sector 3 time. At least the last lap by he did. 4 activations apiece remaining for Sebastian Kinder and Julian Altina. That gap staying right around it's about 20 seconds or so between Kinder and Altina. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here in Montreal. William Reinhard has been absolutely perfect here this evening. Hopefully the commentator's curse does not strike again. Very similar performance here to what we saw at Long Beach. Everybody jumping on the button here on the white flag lap, trying to get their fastest lap of the race in. Down to turn number 10 and into the hairpin for the final time is William Reinhard. See the brake rotors glowing on that machine. Going to have one more challenging corner left. He has to negotiate the Wall of Champions one final time. Through the final chicane, checkered flag is in the air. And your race winner this evening, William Reinhard, getting the victory in Montreal over Sebastian Kinder. Kinder still making his way around the racetrack here. He's down the front straightaway, claiming the second position. Julian Altina, another 30 or so seconds back. He's just coming out of turn 10. Altina will come across the line to claim that final podium position. James Watson will finish about 6 seconds back here in the 4th position. Taking a look at Chris Wilhite as he makes his way around. Just a handful of cars left to complete the distance here at the Grand Assinet de Poutine at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Here is Matt Wagner making his way through the final corners. He will come home in the 6th position and round out your finishing drivers here this evening. There's William Reinhard. He's going to get ready to burn those Firestones down to the ground. Fantastic look there from the tight shot. That's how you square up the victory lane photo. Well done, Mr. Reinhard. With that, we'll clear off the timing and scoring graphics, get you set up for the victory lane interviews. TL72 checking in. Say that again to me and I'll throw hands. Yes, these guys are racing for a big plate of poutine here this evening. Let's see if we can't pick up first our runner-up finisher here this evening. He'll be on the air with us in just a little bit for the Indy Pro 2000 broadcast, but Sebastian Kinder, fantastic run tonight. Good run here, the Grand Assinet de Poutine.
Oh, punaise de punaise. It was tough. But yeah, P2, baby, P2.
Most excited second place finisher I have ever heard.
I mean, William was he was just untouchable. He was just untouchable. So second place is all I could ever hope.
Yeah, that was one of those where it sort of had that feeling of if you weren't going to catch them, then just manage the race and try to stay out of trouble. Was that kind of the thought process once we got settled into the race itself?
It was. I mean, this was my mindset throughout the whole race. Just keep it clean. Just let's see if they do mistakes. I mean, this happened with Julian. Still have to watch the replay for that little incident we had before coming to the pits. I think I maybe blocked too hard. I'll have to review that.
You know what? I was going to ask you about that. It was a fantastic battle. Both of you guys raced that really, really hard, and it seemed to me like the racing was pretty clean there. I mean, there was no corner given by either one of you, but that's really kind of what we expect here out of the Grid Rival ESRA INDYCAR series.
Yeah, absolutely. When he went around the inside, I still had like a wheel on his sideboards. I was just like, no, you ain't past me. I'm not going to let. And at this moment, I was just really struggling on those hard tires because, man, it was tough on those hard tires. I mean, I did a little mistake out of turn 2, going to the grass, and that pretty much makes things tougher for me. But wow.
Yeah, it's almost like you're. It was there ever a strategy thought of run the 2 laps you have to run on the hards and then just get back off them again? Just take the extra time on pit road, because with the race we saw here tonight, you probably still would have been darn close to the podium.
To be honest, I want to do that 2-stop, and like, I don't think there was over a strategy in what we did. Like, it was right. There was only one strategy tonight. It was just to do the 2-stop, and wow, it was so tough.
Well, fantastic run for you here tonight, Seb. Congratulations on the podium. Who do you want to thank?
Well, I want to thank James Watson, my team owner, and I'm still glad that he gave me this chance in his team. I want to thank the National Racing Network for both sponsoring Team Watson Racing and for broadcasting New Zealand. MTWR, our new sponsor for Team Watson Racing. And I want to shout out my family and tell them, je vous aime, les gars, je vous aime tous. Coucou, les gars. And
I have no idea what you're saying here. Well, congratulations, bud. We'll talk to you here in a bit. Let's pick up our third place finisher, Julian Altina. And Julian, the car was exceptionally quick on a night where you gained 15 spots, and it seemed like everybody else was having some issues. What did you do different to that car to have it so quick?
I don't know, honestly. Qualifying was a bit messed up, so I started last, and I just knew that I had to make up ground early to not like totally be out of it in the fight for a podium. And I got through a couple of people in the pit stops as well. Then at the end, I had a good battle with Kinder for a little moment. Then he ran me off the track, which I wasn't too happy with, but it happens. Then later on, a little driver error, which put me with a little damage, a little further back, and couldn't really do anything from that point onwards because the car was damaged at the rear.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because we talked to Seb and he was fairly apologetic. From here in the booth, it looked like 2 guys racing really hard and not giving each other an inch. What was your perspective on that incident and that whole fight with Sebastian?
Well, that's exactly the same what was said last week when who was it again? I don't know, someone. He and I went side by side as well. That's exactly the same thing was said there. Like, I have my opinion, and I think that was just ridiculous. The admins can have theirs. Fair game. It's their call to make, but I'm not too happy about it. But if he apologizes, sure, then it's fine. But it just had me annoyed at the time. But probably with a night's sleep, I'll be over it.
Well, it was a fantastic run for you up here to 3rd place on the podium. Congratulations on that one. Who do you want to thank?
Thanks to the admins, to you. I was also on Discord with the Watson guys, which is a little out of context, but was fun again. And I want to thank VR on the side of my car, Velocity Online Racing, NASCAR F1 and the IndyCar leagues. Check it out at velocityonlineracing.com and on Twitter at VelocityOR.
All right, there you go. There's Julian Altina, and let's pick up the man of the hour here, Mr. William Reinhardt. An absolutely fantastic drive out of that car this evening. I don't even know where to start other than you got the job done tonight that didn't quite happen in Long Beach. This one has to feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, it feels really good. I feel like Long Beach was something I had in the bag, and I just kind of like lost it right at that last minute there, 2 laps to the end. So coming here, battling against Matt there at the beginning, and then getting into first place, it kind of gave me the vibes that I had back at Long Beach, and I just made sure I could get her home today.
What were you able to do differently that it seemed like everybody else could not? There was trouble on the racetrack for everybody here tonight, and your car looks about as clean as any of the race cars we've seen.
Yeah, the main part for me was just being careful, passing lap traffic, being kind of on my toes, going through some of the corners around the track because there's not a whole lot of runoff to really deal with, and if you spin the car, there's a pretty good chance you'll get hit by somebody else out there.
What was going through your head when you saw the incident that Matt had with the lap car coming out of the pits? Because it was one of those where pit entry and pit exit here are not real friendly, and ultimately, I don't know there was anything Matt could have done differently there.
Yeah, just coming out of the pits, I just saw a wall of smoke, and I saw a front wing fly off, and I realized it was Matt's car once I passed by, and pretty much the moment that I got past Matt, I was just I felt really bad for him that had happened coming out of the pits because it's kind of a little oversight that everybody can kind of have because you don't always expect it. But when I saw that, I kind of knew well, I have the pace to stay up here, so it's just kind of I just need to do clean laps, and I can go for that win.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on a hard-earned victory here tonight in the Grand Cinet de Poutine from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. A big plate of poutine heading your way. If you don't know what that is, Google that one. But other than that, congratulations, bud. Looking forward to talking to you again this season.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you as well. You have a good one, Chris.
Thanks, bud. There's is your race winner, William Reinhardt. And with that, we're going to be wrapping up our coverage here because we're going to have to get back on the air here pretty shortly for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship from Watkins Glen International. You do not want to miss that one. That race was absolutely fantastic the last time we were there, 2021 Season 2, and tonight's race is going to be a pretty darn good one for sure. But with that, for producer and camera designer extraordinaire, I should say, Connor Baldwin, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. Don't go anywhere. We're coming up in less than an hour with the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Until then, have a great night, everybody.